Start out with high ridge on one side, slot it in, high ridge on the other side, and lock that in. And we have our support piece, and there's going to be a curved tab right here which goes into the base of the high ridge. So the curved tab slides in, and this slides in there. The next step here is to take the hooks here and start rotating downwards. Open up just a little bit, line up the tabs, and lock into place. I'm going to do the same for the other side. So we're going to take the hook there at the base of the high ridge here and slide in there. We're going to take our hooks here and go into the top of the high ridge and make sure that these line up. We're going to rotate down, angle back just a little bit, and lock into place there. And that is the chasm. Now if you want to create a chasm without a gap and just do a bridge, you can rotate back a little bit with the chasm gap fill piece. Slide in here, rotate just backwards a little bit. Just make sure everything is lined up. And a little bit of a wiggle there. And we have the gap fill. Makes the obstacle a little bit easier because it's about a 70 millimeter split on the wheels. And to remove the gap fill, just back it off a little bit, slide it out, then you have the regular chasm. Often it's helpful when you're setting up an obstacle to plug in a box here and there. That lets you get one wheel up over the air to be able to get the other wheel pulling up over the gap if you have smaller size tires. And disassemble, pull back, lift out, rotate forward, lift out. If you want to remove your high ridge, wiggle, lift out, and that is it. Gap is stronger. The chasm is strong enough to support a vehicle on its one side, and relatively stable on pretty high impacts as well. Okay, now I'm going to do two side-by-side chasm pieces with the extension to fill in between. So we're going to lock in our high ridge. So I have high ridge, tall mountain, high ridge, and hook into the front of the high ridge, and hook in the front of the high ridge. And this is where a little dexterity is required, but it's not too challenging. So I'm going to take our gap fill piece, slot it into one of the chasm pieces. Let me grab my other chasm piece and then join these into one solid piece. And I'm going to line up all my hooks with the top of the high ridge. And before I rotate, just make sure that they're all seated. And rotate forward. And I'm gonna make sure this is seated and this is seated in the hooks with the support. And now there is a chasm with the side extension, so one large wide climb.